I mean, I think you're just aware of the big picture and what the plan is for the season. You understand, obviously, the higher the seed, those types of things, but it does give guys, small bits of motivation with an opportunity to climb. And whatever challenges you can find in the middle of these long seasons to keep kind of pushing guys and motivate guys, you give them reason. And again, our guys, are competitive. And they're aware, right? They're smart and understand the landscape of the NBA. So they see things, and they know where we sit.
Sabonis has been on a tear recently. When game planning against him tonight, what is most important?
I think the physicality, first and foremost. If you allow him to get to his spots, he's just so tough to deal with. If you allow him to catch the ball where, he wants to catch it, now everybody else is so much more dangerous on the floor because of his ability to play, make, and pass. So trying to push him out further off the floor, make those passes longer so your defense can shrink the floor a little bit, hopefully come up with some deflections and steals and those types of things. But, again, he's one of those guys that you have to figure, you pick your poison. He can't have 25 and 15, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to make a decision on, is he going to be a scorer or is he going to be a facilitator, but you can't allow him to do both.
Coach, you played these guys 10 games into the season. Now we're here. You guys kind of grew an identity as of late. Can you talk through why the team is different and what's changed about you guys?
I think, we figured each other out first and foremost. We got some reps together, obviously still working. Darius and Evan kind of back in on their minutes and those types of things. But I think there's a clear picture of what it looks like when we do what we do well, right? When we play Cavs hoops, you know what that looks like now. And guys can kind of fill in and step into their role. And I think that's the difference is, before we were just trying to figure it out. Now I feel like we have a good idea of where we're at.
You mentioned bringing Evan back and adding into that three-point kind of idea that he can do that. How important is that to guys spreading out your guys' offense and having the two bigs still on the defensive end?
Again, it's spacing is key in this league, and if you give guys an opportunity with the talent level that we have to play in that space, we're going to be difficult to guard. But it's not one of those things that I want to oversell. We were a top 10 offense last year. I think we were 7th or 8th, and we played in small spaces, because our guys are talented. Our big guys can share the ball and know how to play big to big. So I think there's times, where you can take advantage of both. If teams decide they want to put two bigger guys out there, then we can space the floor. If teams decide that they want to put a small on one of our bigs, now we can just play in the paint, play big to big, and see if we can take advantage of that, because we'll take layups and dunks also.
Tom.
Hey, Coach. Now that Evan's back 3 games, can you extend him a little bit? You were like 20 to 24 last week. Does that get pumped up a little bit now?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit?
Yeah. I don't think it's 28, maybe 26.
So you want him to shoot, and he did the other night, and he made some shots. How much can that help a guy's confidence when he's in rhythm and doing
Yeah.
those kinds of
At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is that belief. You know what I mean? So the more you see him go, the more confident you are, the more willing you are to take those shots. So again, we watched Evan put in, tireless amounts of effort into that shot. He's one of those guys that, he fights for perfection. So a lot of times when he steps on the floor, like, he wants to make sure that he can excel at whatever it is that he's doing. Again, he sees a few go. He continues to get the opportunity, but it's also not one of those things where it's got to be forced. You know what I mean? Like, if, again, you're playing against smaller guys and your matchup allows you to roll in the paint versus a smaller guy, like, let's attack that guy and get to the rim. We'll take those dunks, put foul pressure, get to the free throw line, those things as well.
Danny.
I understand that no two teams, no two seasons are the same, but last year you guys struggled on the road. We finished a game under 500. This year, at this point, you guys have the best road record in the NBA. What do you think has led to that change?
It's hard to say. I think, the maturation of our group, guys being a year older, guys understanding what to expect, guys making it into a playoff series, matters. Adding veteran players onto your team matters. So I think it's just part of the maturation process, guys growing, the team growing together, and enjoying being in those adverse environments where, there's 20,000 people booing and screaming against you, help band you together a little bit more. So I think our guys are enjoying that.
Jeff.
You just mentioned physicality earlier, and that was criticism of you guys in the series with the Knicks. So how has that improved this season, your physicality?
I think it's just a day-to-day thing that we continue to work on. Again, our defense, even in that series, and I think people miss it, was still elite. The issues came for us with more so on the offensive end of the floor, and being able to create and make shots during that stretch. So, again, we take people's criticism with a grain of salt, but our guys continue to go out and defend. You're not the number one defense in the league last year, and I think we're second or third this year if you're not physical and allowing people to just move. So I think physicality is something we're accustomed to.
In the offensive end, do you feel that you're more physical than you were in the playoffs last year?
Sure.
No, I mean,
I don't know what. I don't know how to answer that question for you. To be honest with you.
I'm just saying because that's what you just mentioned, that you were elite defensively in the playoffs, but at the other end, not so much. So I'm asking you, has that improved?
Yes.
Right.
Jason.
You're awfully close now to finally having a full roster, no minutes restrictions, nothing. Do you know what your rotation will look like when you're totally whole with no limits, or are you still sort of working through that?
We're still working through it, to be honest with you. It's gonna be crowded. I'll just be honest. We've got a lot of guys that can help us. What I'm hopeful of is that we don't have to run guys 36, 38 minutes because we have depth. The plan is you have your first half where it's kind of scripted, and then you see what units, what individuals are playing the best, and then you shift that kind of into the second half, and then again that changes your closing lineup as well.
Totally off topic. Are you surprised at all by how this has worked? And you totally flipped the way you play halfway through the season. That's unheard of. And to have the success. When you lose Darius and Evan, you have to be looking at each other going, okay, well, I don't know how this is going to go now. And to survive and not thrive the way that you guys have, are you surprised at all by the way this is going?
I don't know if I would use the word surprised, but obviously pleased. And it was, again, it wasn't something that was just, one day we woke up and we're like, hey, let's try this and see if it works. You know what I mean? It was still something that suited our personnel. Our personnel, from an offensive standpoint, is a bunch of guys who have the ability to catch and shoot the basketball. We have guys, no matter, with Darius out and Evan out, we had guys that can facilitate and create open shots for one another. And then, just create the ball movement that we're looking for. So it was something that suited us and the group that we had. And, defensively, I think we still were trying to get the same things done. But, found something offensively that kind of expedited the process of where we really wanted to go in the long term anyway.
Tim.
JB, this stretch you're on in the last 20 games, just phenomenal. And everybody's contributed at some point. But Donovan and Jared have really raised the level of their games. For the both of them, is this the best you've seen them in their overall game? Offense, defense, everything. Is this the best stretch you've seen from both?
I think it's the best stretch that we've seen of them together. I could say that for sure. I do think they're both playing at an extremely high level. And again, when you talk about the span of games, but again, they're elite players, and both of them had big moments for us. Obviously, Jared played well enough time to be an all-star. And those types of things, and we all know what Donovan has done. But again, for me, what I'm most pleased with and proud of is the moment of win and kind of how they did it. It was when their team needed them the most. That instead of figuring out a way to panic or go into a shell, they found a way to carry their team. And again, partner in it. It hasn't just been one without the other. Both sides of the floor, both of them have lifted us up. And, it was the commitment to each other, the commitment to the team, where they were just we're going to do it. After, people were panicking about, the season was over and what was going to happen to us. I think they took that to heart and, just showed what type of people, what kind of character, what kind of teammates they are.
And I was going to ask you that. So was that something that you verbally said, hey, you guys need to raise it a little bit, or do you just think it was innate within them?
What our conversation was when guys went down was each person needs to be the most confident, aggressive version of themselves. And that was the message to our guys. And again, as we've gone through that season or this part of it, like you've seen everybody, you know what I mean, play with the freedom, play with the confidence that they know they can contribute and they know they're going to help this team. And I think, again, Jared and Donovan obviously took it to heart, but like you said, there's been so many guys that have contributed. I think all the guys took it to heart.
Last one, Jason.
On the back to rotation, is Sam done enough to earn a spot in everybody's health?
I believe so, yes. I mean, I'm hard-pressed to sit here and tell you that he hasn't proven that he's earned it. Again, the job is going to be how do we figure out, the 10 guys, basically, which isn't always easy, especially when you have so many guys that are like size. So, I mean, we'll work at it, and we'll figure it out. And it's going to come sacrifice of everybody, to take a little bit of minutes down so that everybody can contribute in their role.
And 10's what you like.
I don't like 10, but they've earned it. Yeah. 9 is good. Yeah, I like 9, but we got 10 guys that have earned it.